Welcome to All About Articulation, where we do a deeper dive into the articulation of some of your favorite action figures while glossing over things like sculpt, paint apps, character history, because I suck at that. And there are already so many great reviewers on YouTube who do that already. So, this is the fourth video, or the Predator video, of the NECA DC Darkhorse San Diego Comic-Con 2019 exclusive two packs. The Superman vs. Alien 2-pack was one. I review them in their own separate videos. And this is the Batman vs. Predator 2-pack, and this is the video for the Predator figure. Some quick thoughts off the bat. I've never owned, like I said in the Alien video, I never owned any NECA Alien Predator figures before. This is my first Predator figure. I didn't know what to expect. I've always seen pictures of them online, people posting, people talking about it. I know there's a huge community of collectors of these, just specifically Alien and Predator figures, and specifically Predator figures. They always look cool to me, but I never really got into it. I was a huge fan of the movies back in the day as a kid. I mean, I remember back when this movie first came out with Schwarzenegger back in 1987. It just freaked me out, and I loved it, and I was hooked, but I never got a chance to buy the figures, and so I was kind of curious, you know, because I wanted the Batman, and I figured, all right, let me check this bad boy out, and boy, does he does not disappoint. This is a great figure. At least this is my first foray into the whole Predator action figure world, and I really like it. I really like it, man. So let's just get to the height of it. And what I like to do is that I know, like, for all these four figures particularly, they came out a while ago. Some people even had it, you know, they released review videos during San Diego Comic-Con, and I know I'm late to the game, but what I like to do is, because I focus on articulation, I don't want to just make a video and put it out for the sake of putting it out. You know, I kind of make my videos and my figures the way like a tech reviewer would review a laptop or a smartphone. You know, you don't want to know how a smartphone works in the first day or the first week. You want the reviewer to use it for a month or two or three and really get into the nooks and crannies of daily usage. I wanted to play with these figures. I wanted to hold them in my hand. I wanted to pose them. I wanted to really feel them out and you know, see how they are and how they stand, and you know, how my opinions of them changes, you know, day to day, and what happens in the course of having them for weeks and if not months, and then get back to you. That's how I like to do it. So that's why my videos are usually a little bit later, because I like to really just play around with it and really get the feel for it and really, you know, get familiar with the figure before I put it together a review. And I'm glad I did, especially for this guy, because he's a very, of these four figures, this was the one that surprised me the most. Okay, so Predator. Let me get him into a vanilla pose, and he hits the vanilla pose really well. Right, elbow straight, arm straight, knees straight, standing up. He is, from head to toe, just under 8 inches. Just under 8 inches, I would say. Maybe a little bit more than 7 1/4, but definitely under 8. All right. Articulation-wise, he can look this far down, which is really cool, because, you know, you can totally see him fighting Batman like that. Right? He's staring into the Batman. And then he can look up about that. Oh, well, he can look. The neck doesn't move, just the ball peg. The peg in here moves. So when you put that, and he comes with 2 heads, so that's why the head pops off relatively simply. Not easily, but simply. And he can look up that much. You would probably have to cheat a little bit and use his torso to get him to really look up. But it's okay. I mean, again, you know, Predators are not the most agile, gymnasty characters in the world. So that's cool. And one thing though I do want to point out is that each of his these strands here are individual. They're not all kind of one piece. So you could really get a lot of like interesting, you know, I don't know, positioning here. And you know, every time he turns his head, the each strand kind of changes position. So that's really cool. I really like that a lot. Look how cool that looks, huh? That's really cool. I love that. I don't know why I love that, but I just love that. So it looks like, you know, it looks messy. It looks realistic. You can have like one strand like above his armor, one strand, you know, above his shoulder plate here. And it just looks so badass. Anyway, okay. He does have a lot of shoulder pieces and a lot of shoulder armor, so that definitely hindered his articulation. I can't get his arms to go any further up than that. So in terms of his hot tub pose, that's about it. That's about as far as up it goes. And it's not not for lack of trying, because as you can see here, he's got two shoulder pieces, one up top and one underneath. And the one underneath is the one that, if I can get the light on, there we go. The one underneath is the one that is hindering the arm movements. And again, it's NECA. I'm not going to force any joints at all. If I feel any sort of resistance, any sort, I stop. If you want to keep going, I say use some hot water, use a blow dryer. Otherwise, do not fight it, because these NECA figures will snap on you. They will break. It's not an if, it's a when. If you keep forcing it. All right, moving down the line, he's got double jointed elbows and really nice range of motion. He can go all the way in to way beyond 45 degrees. Oh, that's like almost 20 degrees. He's got the wrist, forearm swivel. He's got a hinge that goes in and out. He's got interchangeable hands, and every hand does about pretty much the same thing. You could swivel the arm this way, the wrist this way, and swivel it up and down. And he's got these double-bladed Wolverine claws, that I like to call, and he goes all the way out. So it's really cool. It retracts to go all the way in. Oops. Retracts all the way in, and you can pull it all the way out that far. Really cool. Same thing with the left arm. One thing he there's a lot of very fragile, lack of a better term, like just a lot of very fragile pieces, like necklaces here. He's got like a bone necklace here that goes around his shoulder, a necklace up there. He had a bunch of tubes that, for those of you who may or may not have noticed, that I just pulled off, because every time I articulated his arm, it would snap, or it would threaten to come off, and I just said, to hell with it. I took a scissor, I just snipped them off. He had a tube that attached to this shoulder piece here to, I believe it was, where was it at? Somewhere on the chest piece, chest plate. He had another tube that went from the back here to from let me point from here to here. There's like just a tube sticking out like that, just like that. For whatever reason, I don't know, and I just cut it off because it was just getting in the way. And he had another one. He had 3 tubes altogether that I just snipped off, so because it was useless. He has a waist swivel here and a joint up here, and also the bottom, I guess the stomach, the waist swivel also can give you a slight bit of crunch. So you have 2 points of articulation where you can combine it to give you like a nice range of crunch motion. And likewise, he can also extend his back so he can look further up. Like all NECA figures, well, he can do a split, because I can see the hip joints are the same as the Batman and Superman, but because of the chest piece and the not chest piece, the crotch piece and the side armor, it's gonna get in the way. So realistically, he can only do a split about that much. He does have a thigh swivel, but you're not going to be able to make it go too far in a 360 direction because of all the armor and the gear that he's wearing. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with his limited amount of articulation because he's Predator. If you remember, you know, the original Predator movie, that's, you know, the one that I always go back to in my head. He wasn't exactly, you know, jumping all over the place like a you know, like a leprechaun. He's a big, solid, strong dude. Doesn't have a lot of you know, acrobatic movements. Double jointed knee. Not quite kicking his butt, but a very good range of motion there. He does have his ankles are unique in that there's no toe articulation. There's no lower joint. His entire ankle is conditional upon the joint underneath this shin guard. I believe it's a ball joint, so you could get some motion. Oh yeah, actually it is. I don't know if you can see it. Let me put the light down. You could kind of see it there, right? You see that? That's what's going on inside. So it's a ball joint. So whatever motion a ball joint can give you is what this ankle will do. So you can get a little bit of pivot. You can get a little bit of a movement this way, sideways, up, down, but not a lot of range. But again, he's a Predator. He's not Spider-Man. So the poses that you could hit, can he get Predator-like poses? That's the question. And the answer is unequivocally yes. And if he can, then that's all I care about. Just pose the way the Predator, and he comes with this staff, which also articulates like that. You can extend it that much of it. Just extend it maybe like half an inch, and he could just hold on to it. This way. And look, I mean, if that's not Predator, I don't know what is. So yeah, oh, and also last but not least, he does have this shoulder piece here that comes off. So that could free up a little bit more range of motion, although by not much, because he's still not getting that shoulder joint moving. But once you put this thing on, it clicks here and it clicks there. So there's these two little notches that it goes into. And this side gun, that articulates, it swings back and forth, and it could hinge up and down. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And yeah, as a Predator figure, does he feel like a Predator? Does he look like a Predator? Does he pose like a Predator? Absolutely. So this is another A in my book. It would be an A+ if you can get his shoulders up and he can get a little bit more articulation in the ankles, but as it is now, and I didn't modify him in any way, shape, or form other than just snipping off a couple of the tubes because it just got in the way for me. It was annoying as hell. But other than that, it's great. Love this figure. If you can get him, go get him. All right.